What is up, you guys? The Fallout What If here, and today I gotta be doing What If Deku was the Judgerson. And now, here's the thing. As far as I remembered in the whole freaking anime, or in the whole freaking What If, Deku has his main girl, which is always going to be Cebrus. Why? Well, because she served him for a very long time, and he's grown quite, and I do mean quite, fond of her. Fond of them. Or they're one person, but they're actually three in the same time. You know what I mean. Now, Deku is going to have a couple of other girls like Yui and Toga. Let's see, freaking possibly Momo and Uraraka. You know, just some basic you know, some other women, but it's not going to be like the whole freaking classroom of women, just those couple of people. So anyway, oh sheesh. Oh man, that was funny. Okay, I just dropped my phone. Oh boy, I'm in trouble. Now anyway, so we get to the point where freaking, dang it. Okay, now we get to the point where freaking Deku goes and tries to find Bakugo, but here's the thing. Cronus, which is the god of freaking time, and give me a second here. This is Cronus, but here's the thing. This is like a kind of special god because some of us as children watch this show. I'm not going to tell you what show it is. You guys have to figure it out on your own. Now anyway, oh jeez, hold on. Now anyway, Deku has to find him, and freaking Cebrus has to smell him out. But here's the thing. Bakugo is basically the whole thing with freaking Bakugo happens. Deku finds him, and the whole All Might fight with One for All for One happens differently, which Deku basically finds Bakugo and basically turns into his freaking what? Let's see. Oh man, I can't find it. Oh yeah, his freaking hammer form, which basically, you know, his judgment calls and chains come around all the people, and basically, you know how this works. Everybody is being held down, so basically all the people who can't actually like do anything about it are fighting. Now, let's go to the point where freaking Bakugo is being saved by Cebrus, because as much as he doesn't like freaking, as much as she doesn't like freaking Bakugo, you know, she has to listen to freaking Deku. Now anyway, let's go on to the whole freaking fight with them. So, All Might and him fight. Why? Well, basically because freaking Deku has to go and tend to freaking Bakugo's wounds. Because, how would I say this? It's mostly due to the fact that he kind of got injured due to the whole freaking, fiasco. Now, let's see, freaking, oh yes. Deku now heals him up, now goes and tries to find freaking All Might, which All Might is having a freaking hard time, mostly due to the fact that freaking, how would I say this? Bakugo is actually getting stronger, which freaking All Might's powers are kind of weakening. I think that's how they said it in the story. So pretty much All Might is at a disadvantage. He almost dies. Deku comes in the scene, and then he summons his jurisdiction form, and basically tries to go slash at freaking what's his face? All for One? Yeah, All for One. And basically Cronus is there giving him power. Giving him a lot of power. Now, why is he giving him a lot of power? Well, because he is trying to destroy freaking Deku. Because he has a lot of these forms, which Deku tries to slash at freaking, what's his face? All for One. But as we may all know, All for One is, well, hold on. Since he has god powers for the time being, basically All for One is fully healed. and now they're basically trying to kill each other. Which All For One is using a special kind of metal which kills gods. And he's using it into his pipe system, quirk, whatever he used for freaking killing all the other people. Now, let's begin. So, freaking Deku just goes around and tries to attack him and try to swing at him, but All For One is basically dodging, maneuvering, and doing all that stuff. Now, what happens with freaking Deku? Deku just basically tries to keep slashing at him, but gets pushed away with air cannons. Or basically, All For One shoots, blasts full of air, or I forgot what those air bullets. He's shooting air bullets at Deku, and he's flying backwards, trying to always regain his balance, and he basically is getting a little frustrated, but he knows that he has to take his time. So instead of all that, he just decides to go and use his freaking his executioner mode, or executioner form. Now the whole thing happens. Deku just basically tries to slash at him and keeps slashing and slashing, but the whole time while they're fighting, Cronus is fighting freaking Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon. Hades especially is getting very mad. Of the fact that somebody dared kill this child, turn him into immortal, and now is trying to finish the job. Zeus and Poseidon are getting mad that their loving nephew, which didn't cause them that much trouble, is now dead. Not only that, freaking Zeus is mad at the fact that Cronus knew that he had the the judgment hammer, the judge hammer, and basically knowing the fact that he cannot freaking fight him easily. Like, this could have gone easily if he had the hammer. Basically, Cronus is laughing at all of them, saying, "You are all my children, yet you decide to go against your father's will." And Zeus says, "We lost that will to obey you the moment you decided to try to eat us all." And this is when Poseidon said, "Yes, you try to kill your sons because we do not know why in the very end. Only you know, but the fact of the matter is you could have taken our powers. Is this true?" And freaking Cronus says, "Yes, but what does it matter? You're all going to die, just like that little brat." And Hades says, "You do not call my son a brat, you bastard." And basically he summons his freaking hell form, which basically he has a full set of armor, which has a death, which basically it's kind of like this. Instead of Deku instead of having his second form, he basically uses his final form. And basically Zeus and Poseidon basically, give me a second here. This is when Cronus summons his power and turns into his super form. And basically says, "Foolish children, do you not know that I still have this form?" And this is when freaking Hades says, "Yes, but I still have my own form." And this is when Poseidon says, "Right on, brother. I still have this form." And Zeus says, "You both idiots. You forgot me. I will show you the smite of gods." And now this is when the fight between the gods themselves, because here's the thing, they're a little more bigger now than the rest of the freaking gods. Give me a second. Now, all three sons versus the father, which Zeus basically, has his super shield and uses lightning. Poseidon uses his trident and water attacks, and Hades uses his Reaper form and also uses his freaking Hellfire. Now, all four freaking gods are now fighting each other, which basically, give me a second here. Now, this is when Deku is still fighting All For One. And basically he has to go use his other form right here, which is basically his freaking hammer form. Smashing freaking All For One, but All For One stabbing him in the freaking leg. Which Deku's like, ugh, what the hell is this? And he basically sees blood coming out and is like, wait a minute. Why is my blood coming out so easily? Ugh, sheesh. Is this the power of a freaking God Killer blade? Which is not blades anymore. It's fused with freaking All For One's power, which is to control metal objects and use it against some people. Now, Deku just decides to smash the hammer and basically hit freaking All For One. And all that happens is Deku just basically smashing him and smashing him and smashing him. But he says that he doesn't feel nothing. He will never feel nothing. And basically he's like, wait, who is he? And this is when he says, this is your father. Or this is your grandfather that gave me this power. And he's like, wait a minute, my grandfather gave me this power? All Might is saying, wait a minute, his grandfather? What does he mean, grandfather? And what did he give him? And basically Deku's like, I knew it. So it was him all along. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't want to believe it. But thank you. Thank you very much. And this is when freaking All For One says, wait a minute, what do you mean thank you? And Deku just says, for making me let go of that past. And now he just basically summons his chains once again, smashing as hard as he could to the freaking rubble, which is now not even chains. They're freaking little, they're spikes, stabbing through freaking All For One. And All For One saying, ah, what the hell? What is this? And Deku says, this, my friend, is known as Judgment Pike, which is an ultimatum, how do you say it? This is an alternative version of the freaking Judgment Chains. Now, the Judgment Spikes are basically stabbing through freaking All For One through so many places that it's basically like a hellish jail cell for him. Now, this is when he says, you have killed a lot of people. Now let's see how much you've killed. And basically, hundreds among thousands of freaking dead bodies are all lining up together, just looking at freaking All For One and pointing straight at him. And this is when he's like, pitiful fool. There's no way that you could still destroy me. He gave me the powers of a god. And Deku says, it doesn't matter if he gives you a power of the god. If he ever gave you a power of the gods. Because I will be the one to judge them all. And basically, he just gets mad. And basically, all the souls go to him. Or to freaking Deku. And basically, he summons his executioner form. Which basically means that freaking All For One sees this and says, who the hell are all these? Wait, what the hell are you? And Deku says, I am known as the Executioner. So wait a minute, that form? Which Deku has taken once again, because he didn't get a clear view of him. So, basically, Deku just turns into this, with all the souls going into the blade itself. Which, as far as I remember, oh, sheesh. Okay, I technically messed up. Freaking, he already saw the freaking he already saw his executioner form. So I guess this is when he says, what the heck did you just do? Which basically, what I was trying to say is, I collected all the souls of the damned that you've killed, and now they would want their judgment. And basically, he summons his freaking Reaper form, and basically goes and stabs freaking All For One with the freaking souls right there in his blade. All of the souls go inside freaking All For One, and Deku says, now, how do you plead? Because he already knows the answer to this. What is this game? What is this game of yours? Deku says, this is not a game at all. This is the judgment that you will be receiving once you go to hell. And basically, he just summons his freaking... he stabs the freaking floor with his scythe. And he says... oh, hold on. Freaking... suffer in pain. Your muffles cried. You have bathed in the blood of the innocent. Iron Maiden. And basically, the Iron Maiden is basically going right there and stabbing All For One. Him muffling his screams, and Deku says, that's not all. Muffled cries, suffer in pain. You have stolen the lives of the innocents. Iron Maiden stabs it again. All For One is basically being Iron Maiden in an Iron Maiden. And he does this for a couple of more times. And basically, All For One stabs through the freaking thing. Stabs through the freaking, how do I say it? What was it called? He stabs through the freaking metal of the Iron Maiden. And basically, the God Blade, she shoots it one last time at freaking Deku. But this is when freaking Cerberus comes in and grabs the blade, which is cutting through her hands, and all of them are basically being stabbed since they basically tried to grab it and for Deku not to be they grabbed it so that way Deku wouldn't how would I say it, get stabbed, which basically keeps cutting them and cutting them and cutting them. Now this is when freaking he summons much more blades. And basically, it's stabbing through Cerberus. Deku gets mad, and he says, oh, you have a much more, you'll have a fun time in hell. Or rather, I will have a fun time. How would I say this? I will have a fun time torturing you in hell. And basically summons a flurry of Iron Maidens closing down on each other, which the God Blades are no longer being used. Cerberus is on the floor right now panting, and this is when she says, Deku, it's alright. It's alright, you don't have to do this. Look, I'm actually okay. And Deku's just saying, wait a minute, how are you all okay? Don't move. Dang it, you idiots, don't try to get up. And basically they say, it's all right. We can't die by this. We're not gods, sure, but we're not mortals either. We lived for a very long time. There's no actual death count for us. And Deku's like, oh, okay. Oh, jeez. Well, that's man, that's a relief. But this doesn't mean you are no longer. This doesn't mean I'm going easy on you. Which basically he summons the gates of hell, and he's summoning the hands, which is basically smashing all the Iron Maidens all in one place. Now this is when the freaking hands start stabbing little holes through the freaking Iron Maiden. And this is when he summons a lava pit, which basically is all going through freaking All For One, and basically heating up to the point where no person, even All For One screams are so loud that the muffling is no longer muffled. It's basically, you can hear what he's saying. And Deku says, I will be there one day, so I can do this to you again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, until you understand the full power of the Judger's sin. Now, I cast you down to the pits of hell itself. Be gone. And basically this is when the skeleton hands grab freaking All For One's Iron Maiden and just drags it down into the portal which the pits of hell lies in. Now, give me a second here. Deku is now telling Cerberus that what they did was kind of reckless, but all three of them just like say, huh, we basically saved your lives. And Deku says, yes, you may have saved my life, but that doesn't mean that I don't worry about you. And this is when Cleopatra says, wait, you worry about us a lot? And this is when Deku kisses her on the forehead and says, I care for you so much that I love you. I loved you ever since we were little kids. There's no way that I can ever, how would I say this? I can ever not stop loving you for you being by my side forever. And this is when all three of them are like super happy. And this is when Deku just says, wait a minute, I told you this a couple of times before. Did you not get the memo? And they're like, yeah, we got the memo. And freaking Cleo just says, baka. And freaking, yeah, pretty much that happens. Now, the whole thing with freaking Zeus, give me a second here. Okay, the whole thing with freaking Zeus fighting freaking Cronus. Cronus is basically saying, this does not work on me. Do you not all understand why I told you all that fighting me would be useless? And this is when Hades says, this doesn't matter if it's useless or not. We are still going to kill you one way or another. And Zeus says, well, you're right. We are going to destroy you once and for all. And this is when Deku just automatically sends an arrow of his own, because he now knows that gods are fighting, since he can still sense them. And basically Cleopatra just said, wait a minute, Deku, we can sense your father, how would I say this? Master Hades is fighting. And Deku says, wait a minute, what? My father? Wait a minute, he's fighting who? And she's like, I think it's Cronus. And this is when Deku's like, ah, crap. Yeah, pretty much I gotta go do what I have to do. And basically Deku says, well, he prays to freaking Persephone, which basically he says, Mother, please hear my calls. Grant me 1 hour of what's called, how would I say this? Grant me an hour of passage through the gates of Olympia, Mount Olympus. And this is when Persephone hears his calls and tells him that he will be there in a she will be there in a minute. And basically the heavens open up for Deku, which only he and freaking Cleopatra, Chloe, Stain, Toga, pretty much those are the only people that's actually been serving Deku. So, All For One says, wait, young man, what did you do to him? Where is he at? And Deku just says, he's in hell, where he belongs. Oh yes, I forgot that you remembered all this. Oh, there's a good thing there's no helicopter here. Kind of took care of it by myself. So, go to sleep. And basically, All Might just passes out due to the fact that fatigue and basically Deku just casting a spell on him just did all that. Now, here's the thing. All Might is sleeping and Deku now says, let's go. So, he just goes through the portal of hell, which is kind of hotter than he remembers. But this is when his siblings basically all see him and start hugging him. And they all say that Father is fighting freaking Cronus. As far as we know, they're going to kill him. Or they're going to kill freaking Father and Zeus and Poseidon, because they're not strong enough, because they need those weapons. And Deku's like, oh sheesh, yeah, I forgot that I had these weapons. And the little brother is like, not the little brother, the big brother is like, go fight him now, you idiots. And this is when Deku just says, okay, sheesh. man, I can't have a day where I get to talk to my siblings. And this is when they all hug freaking Deku and says, we missed you too. And we're glad that we get to see you once again. But right now is not the time. Cronus is basically kicking the crap out of all of our fathers. I mean, out of father and his two uncles. Because freaking Cronus, or grandfather, is going to kill them because of his overwhelming time powers. Now, Cronus is basically still beating all of them. Poseidon is throwing his stabbing at freaking Cronus, but Cronus grabbed the freaking part of the blades where it doesn't actually stab him, and basically, pushes that away, punches Poseidon in the freaking face, and it's mostly gone, but he's mostly water right now. So yeah. Now, give me a second here. Now, the whole thing with freaking Deku is his clothes kind of change, and plants are kind of coming around him, which means that Deku's god powers are kind of being shown up again. Well, his true god powers. Now, the thing is like, oh, grandson, you finally came to join us. Oh, sheesh. Well, it's been a very long time since we actually talked. How was that stab wound that I gave you? And this is when Hades just attacks and says, you monster, and tries to slash at him. But this is when Cronus summons two freaking energy balls that are filled with freaking time, and basically pushes one inside freaking what's called Hades' chest, which pushes him away, and summons the other one, hits it to the ground where freaking Poseidon's at, and pushes him back as well. Freaking Zeus just tries to smash him with the freaking shield, but this is when freaking Hades sweeps his feet and pushes him down a couple of floors to the freaking, let's say, basement, or let's say like it's like the basement of the freaking clouds or something. I don't really know. This is when freaking Deku says, so, what did you want from me, Grandpa? And this is when Hades says, oh wow, it does sound pretty nice when you call me grandfather. Oh man, it almost makes me regret killing you. But this is when Deku says, that's enough. And basically says, you will pay for what you've done to me. You will pay for killing me. Making me live without my parents, without my siblings. Do you know how much it sucks not to see them at all? And this is when freaking Cronus says, oh yes, I know. It's tough for you because you didn't spend time with your mom and dad. But that doesn't matter. In the very end, you will die, just like those miscreant sons of mine. And Deku just says, yeah, right. And basically summons his hammer form, which is no longer a hammer form. It's basically him having the mallet and smashing it down on the floor, summoning the chains of retribution to grab onto freaking Hades. And he breaks through it as hard as he can, but that's not the case. Hades is like, wait a minute, what? Why can't I break through it? Oh, sheesh. Are you telling me that you already obtained your god powers? And Deku says, no. I didn't obtain it a long time ago. What did you do then? What did you do? How did you get this strong? How are the chains so strong? They're practically brimming with energy. And Deku says, well, if you must know, I had a help for... Give me a second here. Now, this is when he summons his super form, which is an amalgamation of him and this dude, which is basically the Cerberus armor, which basically was boosting his god powers due to the fact that something that wasn't a god, but still had powers left over due to freaking Hades, he gave it to freaking Cerberus to make sure that Cerberus could protect her master at all costs, And when times were tough, she would give him the armor, which is basically fueling, Deku's god powers, which nobody actually knew. But Deku, this is his actual first time doing this. So he's like, well, you didn't think about this. And he says, this is my Cerberus armor. This is a very impenetrable kind of armor. Not even God blades can actually hurt this thing. And he's all like, jeez, they're still talking in my head. Chloe, Cleo, and Cleopatra are basically talking in Deku's head because instead of the freaking armor just being like this, it's basically the armor's powered up by itself, but Deku has to hold the souls, not the souls, but hold the minds, the whole Cerberus mind. So basically, he just has to keep hearing them talking and bickering about who gets to be the top one and who gets to be the left and the right. That sounds kind of weird, but anyway, Deku just automatically summons his sword and just says this: Grandpa, as much as I like to chat with you, this is not the time for me. As much as your father time powers have gone by, as much as you're known as Father Time, it doesn't matter to me. The time that we spent was long enough. And now he just summons Iron Maiden. Muffle in the cries from the blood of the enemies that you spilt, due to all the souls of the innocent dying because of your tremendous evil doing. Suffer, Iron Maiden. And basically this is when an Iron Maiden just closes on freaking Cronus, and Deku needs power. He can't close this all together. And this is when Hades just fills up the right side of his helmet. And then this is when Poseidon fills up his left. And then this is when Zeus shoots thunder into freaking Deku's body, which is basically fueling up. So imagine all the holes having like blue fire, having freaking water like going around him, and thunder just sparking out of him. And this is when Deku just summons his mallet, smashing the floor, which a bunch of pikes are holding in freaking Cronus. And all the chains are right there holding him together. Now imagine all the souls that he has damned, because he was technically not the one to actually do it. And over all the years that he's technically been the one responsible, millions upon billions are there. Now, Deku just says, well, I see what you did. That's technically so evil of you. You're lower than scum. You're lower than any scum on this world. You don't have the right to call yourself a god anymore. And this is when Cronus says, what? You cannot do this to me. I am their father. You are my grandson. And this is when Deku says, no. You lost the right to call me your grandson the moment you stabbed me with that knife. And this is when all the gods hear this, because now all of them are now coming to see what's happening. Because the whole time they were in different places, now they come to see what Deku is talking about. So, all the gods now find out that freaking Hades has come by. Not Hades. They all find out that that kid, little Deku, has been killed by the father of time. The god who was supposed to take care of things instead wanted to kill his sons, and instead of that, trying to kill his grandson of all people. This is when all the gods decide that he is no longer worthy. And Deku says, well, everybody gets to now see your ugly true nature. Now, what do you have to say for yourself? And this is when Cronus says, by my powers alone, I will one day find you and kill and slaughter your whole family. And I will take down the gods of Olympus, and you will hear my calling once more. You may not like it, but I will come back one day. And Deku says, Huh. One day, you said. Welp. That doesn't matter anymore.
Cerberus, fetch me this
soul. And basically, give me a sec. This is when all of them just say, wait a minute, we just take his soul, that's it? And Deku says, sure. Why not? Just do it. And she's like, yes, master. And basically, all of them have the powers now of freaking Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, which they have to return very soon because they're under contract still. Now, they just turn into their puppy form, and Cronus says, that's cute. Look at that little bit. And basically, Deku just automatically sees freaking Cerberus turn into her strong form, and it's basically going to be a stronger form than this. Which, give me a second here. So he commands them, and they all basically turn into their demonic form. And how do I say, they turn into this. Which Cronus is thinking, wait a minute, that sounds like a downgraded version. And basically fire comes out of their breath and are all just destroying and going through the Iron Maiden, going past the Iron Maiden with the soul or the powers of Cronus. And Deku just says, well, 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 look at this. I've taken your power. Huh. Well, I better just use it right now. Which basically he just puts it in his soul, which now the powers are his. Now, Deku just tells him that you're no longer a god by standards. You're not even a god by birthright anymore. Oh, hold on. You may be a god by birthright, but you are not a god by any means. And basically, freaking, he turns into he turns into this form, and basically says, my powers, and the pain, it still hurts. And Deku's like, precisely, you are a god with no powers at all, which means you're basically a dumb mortal. Now, as the saying goes, suffer in pain. Your cries muffled, due to the fact that you killed the blood of the innocents, Iron Maiden, and of the final Iron Maiden itself, so big that it was meant to kill gods. Now, the thing is, it just shrinks and shrinks and shrinks until they all see a pool of blood with Kronos crying. And this is when Deku says, I'm not done yet. You, of all people, now go to that special place I was talking about. Go to the deepest pits of hell. And basically the Iron Maiden just goes down into the portal, which shows all the souls that he's killed charging right after him. Kronos is basically crying. Give me a second. He is crying, saying, no, spare me. But Deku just says, no. No, there's no way I'm going to spare you for all you've done. And basically, he sets the time power up. And now, basically, Deku is now a god by power. He may be a god by hero standards, but now he's a god by powerful standards. He is now the new god of time. But he's also his own kind of god. So now this is when Deku is now turned into a full-fledged god. Now this is when basically Hades hugs him and says, son. And this is when Deku says, father. And they basically start hugging each other. And this is when freaking Poseidon says, nephew. And he says, uncle. And this is when he says, nephew, come over here. And he says, oh boy, look at you. You've gotten... Okay, I've actually gotten taller. But since you're in your god state, I guess you're taller now? And he's like, precisely, child. It doesn't matter. One day you'll have your own power. And Deku, hold on. And Deku just says, yep. Well, this means I must go back, I guess. And this is when Deku just goes back into the portal with his freaking mother, hugging him because Deku decides that he's going to stay in the human world for a very long time and make sure peace is in order. Because without him, there will be no judgment falling onto those who need it the most. Deku is now the father of time. Deku is now seeing his parents, has seen his freaking brothers and sisters. Not only that, he's found the woman of his, well, basically his lover, and he's going to have his own harem. Basically, Deku now has seen everything, but there's one more thing. Zeus, Poseidon, freaking Hades, all deem Deku worthy of having the title, the Judgerson. And this is when Cerberus says, "Look at that, Deku! You actually got the power now. You are now known as the Judgerson." And Deku just pats them all in the head and just says, "Yes, I'm now the Judgerson." Well, that's good for me in the very end. But right now, I'm just going to spend my years as a child first. I haven't had fun for a very long time. But there's one thing we should all do before that. And this is when Zeus says, freaking, yes, nephew, what is it that you want? Besides, we owe you for all you've done. And this is when Hades is all like, "Yes, son, you've actually earned the right to ask of us something, and we shall do it." And this is when Deku says, "Well, I was never actually there at the whole party. So, can we do that once again?" And this is when Zeus is like, "Oh, hell yeah!" And basically, he says, "Oh, hell yeah!" And just shoots the lightning out in the air. Freaking everybody now knows that there's a party going to happen in honor of Deku. And this is when freaking Hades says, "Wait a minute, that's my line!" And shoots it out. Fire, to show the fireworks of happiness. And freaking Poseidon's like, might as well say it as well. "Oh, hell yeah!" And basically freaking how would I say it? He summons all the fine wines and liquors that are there in the world, and basically freaking Deku's like, "Well, at least I had this for a reason." Grabs his own bottle of sake, and now all of them are having a party. Cerberus gets to go and basically dresses up for the occasion, which basically she just wears this. Hold on. All three of them dress up and become much more older, or basically dress the part up, and basically a lot of the gods, even Aphrodite is like, "Wait a minute, these girls are much more cuter than I am." And basically Deku's like, "Well, she was with me my whole life. I guess she might as well wear that. Besides, nice legs." And basically freaking Hades is like, "Well, all's well as ends well. Now, son, what are you going to do? Literally, what are you actually going to do? You know that there's a lot of villains in this world. They might be strong as well. Just because what's called Kronos was stronger, doesn't mean that stronger than us, doesn't mean that you're not, since you technically didn't want to be a full-fledged god, you're still kind of human. You might have his powers, and you might have other new nifty tricks up your sleeve, but that doesn't mean you should just go recklessly." And Deku is all like, "Father, it's been a very long time, but yes." And basically his mother is right there holding freaking Deku and just being so happy for the fact that his son gets to see her for one more time. Until Deku is ready and wants to become a god. Now, this is when her and freaking, how would I say it, the girls just say, well, we might as well just go and, well, there's going to be a lot of trouble over there. And this is when, how would I say it, they're basically trying to say this. The Cerberus is trying to say that, how you say it, Deku is going to have gone through a lot of fiascos in life. And now he's happy. The fact of the matter is they get to find, they actually, you know, they're actually a couple, or, well, they're technically a foursome couple. But yeah, nonetheless, they're a couple. Now, Deku just does the whole freaking party thing. Everything goes well. Cronus is spending 1 million to much more of 1 billion years in hell. No matter what. Unless Deku wants to stop it. Pretty much, yeah. Now, I'm going to end it off here because I've got to go to sleep. So, like, comment, and do subscribe to the channel here, people. This has been the Fallout With here. Bye.